Hey everybody, and welcome back to episode 3 of Parkitect Disneyland and part 2 of me building the Main Street. So I'm going straight in with another corner building. This one is a restaurant and it has a kind of bistro style about it. And as I've mentioned before, this was also taken inspiration from a Disneyland Main Street poster from Paris, I believe. So as you can see, I'm just kind of blocking in all the shapes roughly with the pillars, and then I should go in after and add the details in. Something I like to do when building buildings in any park, whether it's Main Street or whatever, is I like to build the shape first using just standard plain walls, work out where things are going to go, and then as I go along I'll remove a wall, replace it with a door, that kind of thing, and it really just kind of helps you build and see what you're trying to do rather than guessing as you go along. That is something I found really helps when building buildings, and I do it quite a lot actually. Also the same with colours. If I don't really know what colour I'm going to choose in the beginning, I kind of do it all kind of neutral colours, and then at the end I'll go in and colour each section, and if I don't like something I'll switch it around until I'm happy. So now I'm just going to go with a diagonal, just try and copy the pieces in a diagonal style. Sometimes you have to kind of improvise when doing the diagonal things because the pieces don't come in diagonals all the time. Like the chunky brown pillars I used here, there is no diagonal, so I'm just going to make it work. And again, using the Shy Guy set 4, which has the diagonal roof pieces, which are so handy. There is not one roof piece that is good for a diagonal, apart from the flat ones. So that set is really good if you want to create diagonal roofs and join up pieces. Sometimes you get walls that meet awkwardly, and using a diagonal roof piece really just kind of solves those problems. And dormers I find really finish up a building. Really simple just to pop one on top. So quick, so easy, but really make the building look so much better. So as I mentioned in the last episode with the orange building, I actually go back and redo some details, and I should start that in a minute. As I said, I actually figured out how to do kind of bay windows, and doing that on this building actually makes such a difference. So I'll go in straight now and start ahead with the bay windows. So basically all I did was just use some diagonal walls and put them on a really small grid to make that look just a bit more interesting around the bottom there. I wasn't really 100% happy with this building when I built it, and I knew that I needed to go back and change some things. So one of them was doing bay windows, and the other thing was the top of the building. I wasn't really happy with how that was looking. It was a bit plain and not really much going on. I found it actually a bit unimaginative. So I went back in with just some random wood pieces and just kind of dotted some decorations on there just to make it look a bit more interesting. And then straight over to the other side, also doing a corner building. I left a gap in between the buildings on this one. I originally was going to have like a path going down, as you can see where the terraform grey paint is on the floor, but I decided to move it up a bit and do a building on the corner, and then I was going to leave the gap empty and then put the building in between it. I think sometimes it's easier to put the buildings where you know things are going to go, and then fill up the gaps in between with random things. So that's basically what I did on this one. I wanted to have a brick texture in the middle there, but I couldn't get the brick texture to come on the corner or the diagonal. So I just decided to just use plain walls, which turned out a lot easier. Actually get rid of that corner thing in the end and do it in a different style. But this building is one that I actually have built before. It's quite a common, typical Disney building, I would say, with the beige bottom, has the red middle and the green top. I actually built this many times in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, and I actually believe many years ago Silverette did a tutorial on how to make Main Street buildings, and he basically built this building from Disneyland, and that was kind of one of the tutorials that I watched many years ago when I was playing Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. That got me going in and experimenting with building styles a lot more. I never really concentrated on building Main Street buildings or scenery buildings really. I just really loved doing roller coasters and trying to make those realistic, and it was that kind of time when I saw that video that I decided that I really wanted to try doing Main Street buildings and putting details in and doing architecture and just making all the things a bit more interesting. And I guess it was because of that video that I really found a style with building. So yeah, I used that tutorial to build this building many years ago in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, and it's kind of just stuck with me. And I did actually see it on this Disney poster that I keep talking about, and so obviously it was a no-brainer to build it in this park. I think once you do find a style with building things in a game, everything else does become a lot easier, because you do find ways and little tips and tricks on how to do things, and then you can kind of just copy that technique or skill and style over and over into other buildings using different color schemes or different variations. It does make building a lot easier once you find a style, and I have said before, it took me quite a long time to find a style in this game with building, but then once I kind of found it, I found that everything else kind of clicked into place, and I don't find things as difficult now because I know how to get around things. But in the beginning, this game took me a few months to really get into as it went on, and then I really did find a style. Well, I think I did anyway.
Every man for themself.
So something I like to do as well is use the bush planters and actually rise them up and use them as window kind of plants. Really simple thing to do. It really breaks up a building as well. And then I'm going to go on another building here next to this one. This was completely random, this one. I just saw a similar design on this poster, as I keep mentioning. I couldn't really see actually what the building was. I just kind of used it and then used the idea of that building to create this one. It's very random, but it does work out in the end. I kind of one of those ones that has that green kind of steel structure on the front, you know, the canopy that you walk under. I couldn't really achieve it to the level I wanted to, but I kind of do it in a different way and it kind of works. And that brings me on to say actually something about building stuff and getting ideas. Sometimes rather than copy something, I like to look at something, a reference. I like to look at the reference just once and never look at it again. And therefore my brain then kind of has to try and work and figure out what I think I saw in the reference. And then I actually come up with my own ideas, or maybe I put things in that weren't actually in the reference to make it, and then because of that, it becomes my own thing. I have actually progressed with this park further than what I'm showing you now. And there's some bits where I looked at a reference, for instance, with like Frontierland, and I looked at the reference once and then just made up the rest in my head, what I thought I saw in the reference, and what I actually built turned out to be very different from the reference, but it was actually really cool. So that's a really good thing to do sometimes if you're struggling for ideas. So here's the green structure. It's kind of like an old cinema front. Those old cinemas. That was something I actually wanted to build in the main street, and I actually forgot to do. I wanted to have one of those kind of red buildings with the cinema front, with like the writing on the lines where the writing would go on. But I forgot, so never mind. So onto this next building to fill up this little gap. This was also just a random one, just a little 2-tile size building. Sometimes it's these smaller ones that take maybe 10 minutes to build, really quick, just whacking some borders there just to break up some of the height in the building, put some windows and doors on, and you're done. So that was quite a simple one. So not every building in this main street is taken from a reference. I've obviously used Disney as a style, but some of the little filler buildings I've actually made up as I go along. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Please comment, like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. I should try and get the part 3 of Main Street out as soon as I can. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.